Okay, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to be 100% real with you, even if my voice shakes while I say this. The truth I've been terrified to tell you. This message found you right before it happens. I can't hide it anymore, and what I'm about to reveal, it might actually shock you. Not because it's some wild conspiracy or some dramatic secret about my personal life. It's going to shock you because it's been sitting in front of your face your entire life, and you have been trained systematically, quietly, almost lovingly to look away from it. You've been trained to call it anxiety when it's actually recognition. You've been trained to call it being realistic when it's actually the slow, quiet death of everything you once believed you deserved. I spent a lot of time polishing the version of me you see here, but that version is only half the story. The other half is standing in the basement of a very beautiful house, pointing at a crack in the foundation that I've been terrified would collapse the whole thing. And today we're going down there together, because here is the metaphor that's been keeping me up at night. Imagine your life is this gorgeous, picture-perfect house. From the street, it looks incredible. The lawn is moved, the shutters are painted, the light in the windows is warm. Everyone who drives by thinks, wow, they really have it together. But you know the truth. You know the truth. You've known it for years. There is a crack in the foundation. It started small, maybe a hairline fracture when you were a kid, or during that relationship that went wrong, or during that year when you lost someone, and nobody let you grieve properly. And instead of fixing it, you did what most of us do. You covered it up. You put a rug over it. You rearrange the furniture. You got really, really good at making sure nobody ever went down to the basement. But here is what I've stopped being able to ignore. That crack isn't staying small anymore. It's spreading. And I'm terrified that if I don't point at it right now, if I don't say the thing that's I've been swallowing for years, the whole house is going to come down while I'm still standing in the living room pretending everything is fine. This is not just a message. This is a weight I've been carrying that finally became too heavy to hold. You might wonder why I waited this long. And the honest answer is, I was scared of losing your trust. I was scared you'd see me, the cracks, and think less of the house. I was scared you'd realize that I'm not the calm, collected person I've been performing as. But that performance, it's killing me. And I have a feeling it's killing you too. If you feel like your life is a movie and you're just reading a script you didn't write, then this is for you. If you wake up some mornings and for about 30 seconds before your brain fully turns on, you feel this pull towards something, an appetite, a version of yourself that is not quite yet. And then you remember Oh, right, I'm not that person. And something closes inside you. You watch it go like a door shutting quietly in your own mind. That's the crack. That's the foundation shifting. That's the truth I cannot hide anymore. Let me give you a concrete example because you need to feel this, not just understand it. You are at a party. Someone tells you a story. Everyone loves that particular love. That means it landed, that it actually mattered. You are standing there and you feel it. You have something to say, something funnier, something that would crack the room open in a completely different way. You can see it already. The setup, the timing, the angle that nobody else in this room is going to see. Your body knows it. You can feel where the joke wants to land. You can almost hear how the energy would shift when you say it. The room would change shape. They would feel you. They would see you in a different way. You open your mouth and you don't. You don't say it. Instead, you smile at their joke. You make space for their moment. You become the person who makes other people feel good about their own stories. And that's where it gets strange. Because there is this part of you that knows actually what you would have said. That part saw the setup immediately, saw the angle, saw the devastating punchline hiding 3 beats below the surface. That version of you would have stolen the room, not in a mean way, in a way that would have made everyone feel more alive. But here is the deeper paradox. And this is the part that kills me, actually. You're not choosing silence. You are choosing invisibility while pretending it's kindness. You are reframing self-erasure as generosity. You tell yourself you are being considerate. You tell yourself you are being good. But the truth is closer to this. You are terrified of being fully seen because the last time you were, when you took up space, someone made you feel like that was wrong. And that brings me to something your soul already knows. You have felt the sabotage in the dark, the quiet undermining, the gaslighting that made you question your own memory. The people who smiled to your face while systematically erasing your voice from every room you walked into. You have been living inside an unseen warfare, a war not of armies, but of microaggressions, of you are too much, or come down, or that's not how it happened. And the deepest wound isn't what they did. It's that you started believing them. You started carrying their voice inside your own head, repeating their verdict long after they left the room. I kept telling myself, not yet. But the universe, or whatever you believe in, stopped giving me a choice. And here I need to pause and meet every single person watching. No matter what name you use for what holds the stars together, whether you call it God's hand, the universe, your ancient ancestors, source, or simply the silence that listens when you pray. For me, every. The alignment is happening now. This is not a religious test. It's not recognition that divine justice does not wear a label. It wears the shape of a crack, finally splitting wide enough that you can no longer pretend. That crack is your invitation, not to join a doctrine, not to join your own life, because the cost of staying invisible has become higher than the cost of being seen. And you can feel that, can't you? That's why you are still here. That's why your thumb didn't scroll past. Something in you recognized the crack. Something in you recognized the exhaustion of being the black sheep, that the high vibrational being, the one who always feels too intense in a world that demands you turn down your light. You have felt people watch you with something that looks like intimidation dressed up as judgment. They don't hate you. No, they don't hate you. They feel your frequency. And it threatens the quiet agreement they made with their own invisibility. You have been carrying the weight of being different, not because you're broken, not because you remember, but because you remember something most people have forgotten, that you came here to be seen. We often hide our cracks because we think they make us weak. But I have realized they are the light, they are where the light gets in. And the light I'm talking about, it's not some fluffy, positive thinking nonsense. It's the light of your own attention, your own recognition, your own willingness to stop pretending that the beautiful house is not slowly collapsing. I'm not coming to you as an expert today. I'm coming to you as a human being who is tired of hiding, tired of saying I'm fine when I'm actually disappearing, tired of watching myself become a supporting character in my own life because it's safer to let someone else take the lead. Think about all the moments you've erased yourself. When you are in a meeting and you see the problem that nobody else sees, you have the solution. It's clear to you, but you watch the room go in the wrong direction. And you don't speak, you tell yourself later that they would not have listened to anyway. Actually, you are just protecting yourself from the chance that they might listen and then expect you to take up more space. Or that morning, when your partner says something unkind and you feel the response forming, the thing you could say that would make them understand what they actually did. But instead, you stay quiet. You become small. You make it okay. You become the person who absorbs it so they can feel comfortable being the person who did it. Or every family dinner where your accomplishment is mentioned and you immediately minimize it. You deflect, you make a joke, you become the person who didn't actually achieve anything important. And they all relax because you've made it safe for them to not have to celebrate you. The cost of being seen is too high. So you've learned to not be seen at all. And the worst part, you're so good at it now that you don't even feel the initial impulse to speak. You feel it forming and you immediately squash it. You've automated your own erasure. You've built it into your nervous system. What I'm about to share might change how you see me, and I have to be okay with that. But I also have to be okay with the possibility that by telling you the truth, I might actually help you to see yourself. Because here is what I need you to understand. You didn't choose this because you're kind. You chose this because being fully visible felt like it came with the price that was paid in your safety. Someone showed you with their words, their tone, their actions, that your existence was inconvenient. And you made a deal with yourself. You would make yourself smaller so they could feel bigger. And you are still paying that price every single day. Have you ever felt like you are waiting for a storm to hit, only to realize that the storm is already inside you? That's the crack. That's the feeling that something is structurally wrong, even though everything looks fine from the outside. You have been living with that storm for so long that you've stopped calling it a storm. You call it stress. You call it being tired. And you call it just how life is. But it's not just how life is, it's how a life feels when the foundation is cracked and nobody's willing to look at it. I know some of you have felt this shift to that quiet nudge telling you that things cannot stay the same. You felt it in the shower, in the car, alone, in the middle of a conversation. When someone says something that should be funny, but you don't laugh because you are too busy noticing that you are not really there. You are just performing being there. And the performance is exhausting. So let me deepen this metaphor for you because I need you to really see it. When the foundation of a house cracks, it doesn't just affect the basement, it affects everything. The doors start sticking, the windows won't open right, cracks appear in the walls upstairs, the floor starts slopping, and you can ignore one slopping floor. You can but put a rig over it, but eventually you can't ignore that every glass you set down slides toward the edge of the table. That's what's happening in your life. The small things are sliding. Your patience is thinner than it used to be. Your joy is harder to access. Your motivation comes in shorter and shorter bursts. And you've been blaming yourself for being lazy or weak or unmotivated. But it's not you. It's the foundation. It's the crack that's been spreading while you were busy painting the walls. And the truth I've been terrified to tell you is that you can't paint your way out of a cracked foundation. You can't positive think your way out of a structural failure. You have to go down to the basement, you have to look at the crack. You have to admit that it's there. And then you have to decide if you're going to fix it or if you're going to keep living in a house that's slowly collapsing around you. Here's a different scenario, a more uncomfortable one. You are in a relationship, romantic, friendship, professional, doesn't matter. And something happens that hurts you, not dramatically, not in a way that would justify a confrontation. Just a small thing, a comment that lands wrong, a moment of being overlooked, a decision that was made without considering you. And you feel it. You feel the hurt land somewhere in your body, your chest, your stomach, your throat. And you have a choice, always. You could say something, you could name it, you could say, hey, wait a minute, that actually didn't feel good. But you don't. Instead, you absorb it. You make it okay. You tell yourself it's not a big deal. You tell yourself you're being too sensitive. You tell yourself that they didn't mean it. And you move on, except you don't. You don't really move on. The hurt doesn't go away anywhere. It just sinks lower. It becomes part of this sediment at the bottom of your emotional life. And over time, that sediment builds up, layer after layer after layer, until one day you realize you are angry. Not at the small thing that just happened, at everything, at everyone, at the accumulated weight of 1,000 moments where you chose invisibility over honesty, safety over visibility, being liked over being real. And that anger scares you, of course, because it doesn't feel like you. You are not an angry person. You are kind. You are accommodating. You are easygoing. Except you are not. You've just gotten so good at hiding your true responses that you have lost touch with what they even are. You don't know what you actually want anymore, because wanting was the thing you were trained not to do. So now you wake up and you don't have desires. You have obligations. You have agreements. You have the life you signed up for because it was the one that wouldn't upset anyone. The truth is rarely pretty, but it is always liberating. And the truth here is that the crack in your foundation is not a sign that you are broken. It's a sign that you have been holding up something that was never yours to hold anyone alone. I'm done choosing comfort over clarity. That's what I decided. That's the line I crossed. Comfort has been telling me to stay quiet, to not rock the boat, to keep the house looking nice from the street. But clarity is telling me that the house is going to fall down whether I rock the boat or not. So I might as well be standing on solid ground when it happens. I'm pulling back the curtain today because you deserve the full picture, not just the highlights. And the full picture is this: you have been living with a crack in your foundation for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to stand on something solid. You've forgotten what it feels like to speak without calculating the cost, to want without apologizing, to exist without performing. And that forgetting, that's the deepest cost. Because when you forget yourself, you don't just disappear from the room, you disappear from your own life. You become a ghost in your own story. And the strangest thing happens. Other people start treating you like a ghost too. They respond to how small you've made yourself. They take you at the value you've assigned yourself. Invisible. But here is what's changing. And this is the part I've been most terrified to say out loud. You're not going to fix the crack by being louder. You're not going to fix it by forcing yourself to be more confident or more outgoing or more anything. You fix it by going down to the basement, by sitting with a crack, by acknowledging that it exists without immediately trying to cover it up, by saying out loud to yourself, when no one else is listening, something is wrong here, and I'm not going to pretend anymore. That's the moment. That's the shift. That's the message that found you right before it happens. Because it is not an event. It is a decision. It is the moment you stop choosing comfort over clarity. The moment you stop painting the walls and start looking at the foundation. The moment you realize that the terror you've been feeling is not a warning to stay small. It is the feeling of the old structure finally breaking down so something real can be built. This is the conversation I wish someone had with me before everything changed, before I spent years being invisible and calling it kindness, before I let the crack spread so far that I almost lost the whole house. I wish someone had looked at me in the eye and said, "You're not too much, you're just being asking the wrong people to carry you." I wish someone had told me that the crack in my foundation wasn't my fault. It was just evidence that I'd been trying to hold up a ceiling that was never designed to be held up by one person. And I wish someone had told me that the terror I felt when I thought about becoming visible, that was just the sound of the old walls cracking open to let the light in. So here we are, you and me, in the basement of the beautiful house, looking at the crack, not running from it, not covering it, just seeing it. And I need you to know something. The crack is not the end of the house. The crack is the beginning of the repair. But you cannot repair what you refuse to see. And you've been refusing to see this for so long that you have almost convinced yourself the crack is not there, but it is. You feel it every morning. You feel it in their silence between conversations. You feel it in the way you hold your breath when someone asks you what you really want. What's the crack? That's the crack. That's the truth. That's the message that found you right now, not by accident, but because some part of you was finally ready to stop hiding. The terror you've been feeling is not a sign that you are broken. It's a sign that you are waking up. And waking up is messy. It's uncomfortable. It's the opposite of the polished, pretty version of life we've been trained to perform. But waking up is also the only way to stop being a ghost. The only way to stop watching your own life from a distance. The only way to feel the ground beneath your feet and know, really know, that it's solid. Not because the crack is gone, because you have stopped pretending it isn't there. And in that honesty, something shifts. The weight you've been carrying, the weight of the performance, the invisibility, the constant calculation of whether it's safe to be real, that weight starts to lift. Not all at once, no, not dramatically, but slowly, quietly. The way fog lifts when the sun decides it's done hiding. You are not the crack, you are the one who sees it. And that seeing, that's the beginning of everything. That's the message. That's the truth I've been terrified to tell you. And now that it's out, now that it's sitting here between us, there is only one question left. Not what you are going to do, but who are you going to be when you finally stop pretending the house isn't cracking? Because that person, the one who can look at the crack without flinching, that person is not weak. That person is not broken. That person is the bravest version of you. And that person has been waiting in the basement for a very long time, holding a flashlight, hoping you'd finally come down the stairs. You are here now. The crack is real. The house is shifting. And you are finally awake enough to see it. Don't look away. That's the only thing that ever made the crack worse. Not the crack itself, the looking away. You are done looking away. You can feel it. That's why this message found you. And that's why nothing is ever going to be the same. Love you.